Hello, field camp students. So I'm making a series of video tutorials on how to digitize the geomorphic and geologic maps that we're going to be producing in week 5 of Geologic Field Camp this year at UVU. Days 4 and 5 for the Mercer mapping area. Okay, so we on Saturday we're going to meet in the GIS lab SB 175, and we're going to translate the maps that you made in the field to digital. And so this GIS tutorial is going to show you how to do that, and then we'll also look a little bit how to do some terrain analysis to maybe refine some of the maps that you produced in the field because we have that high resolution topographic data. So this first video, I just want you to see where to download the data and kind of bring it into ArcGIS Pro and set up a base map that'll be more useful for working with on this project. So you can see that I've named my file appropriately GEO 4600 2024. Might add your name to it. First thing I want us to do is probably change what's in the background here. So we could go to the base maps and change it from topographic to imagery. Since we're going to be using a lot of alluvial fans, that might be useful. It'll also make it easy for us to navigate. So I did that. Now we have world imagery as the background. I'm going to zoom, scroll in. Here are the Ochre Mountains, and the Mercer area is over here. So your field mapping area is right in here in these alluvial fans complex. Okay, so that's where we want to be. And that's what imagery we want in the background. So I'm going to click Save to preserve that. Okay, so the file that you're going to want to get is located in Canvas under week 5 module at the very bottom. So let's go ahead, click on that, and then we'll have to right click and save that somewhere. I think we can, or maybe we just click. Yeah, so that's going to save to your downloads. And then my recommendation for you is to put this in your OneDrive just as a backup. So I don't know where your files, and then so you'll go to downloads, you'll find that product, cut the zip file because we'll have to extract it, but we'll do that afterwards. Put it in your OneDrive and paste, and then extract here. So you should get something like this, extract the products, and you'll see what's inside of it. Now, it might be good to probably then also save this ArcMap project to that same location. Okay. And I'll this time call it Tokay GEO 4600 2024 week 5 project. So now it's there as well. So we can see it there. They're right next to each other. So then you can unzip. We see that the Mercer 1 meter products are here. Okay. So this over here and this bigger, that big. So now we can adjust this a little bit. Okay, so what you can do then to bring these files in, it is possible to just drag them in, but you know, it's good practice to probably click on under view. Yeah, catalog pane will work. So now if we go under folders, we can see that's where I'm working. But to get the files, they're one up from there. So I'll add a folder connection. And so I have to navigate to this. And I'll say my files, because that's pretty much where it is. And then I can see them here. So I have something called Merkur USGS 1 meter TIFF. So these are all GeoTIFF digital elevation files and products. So the DEM, digital elevation model, is that first file, and then there's some derivative products from it. I've made an aspect, hillshade, and slope map for you to utilize in your mapping. To make those products, it wouldn't be that hard, but this is not a class in that, so I've created them for you. So let's, I guess, add that each of these files. I guess I can do them all at once, right? And I can add to current map, and here they appear. So our mapping area is within this box, so that helps us constrain things. So now I'm going to press save, and we'll just set up some visualization, and then we'll stop this part 1 video after we look at it just briefly. So on top, we can see right now is the slope map, hillshade, aspect, and then they have imagery and DEM below that. We may want to move these around with time. Let's do a few things first. So the base maps I gave you for the field, I think I had a kind of different color scheme than black and white, probably something like this for the DEM. Okay. And so you can see the digital elevation model is colored in kind of this earth tones here. You can change exactly how this is displayed by changing the way it's stretched. I can change the standard deviation. Now I'm starting to pick up some of the faults out in the valley. You can also change it so that it has a dynamic range adjustment, i.e., it's basically just how we were looking at it a minute ago, but if I zoom in, it'll adjust to where I'm at. And so it'll show me more and more detail as I'm in there. That's an option. You can also make things customized. So if we're zoomed out here and I don't care about the really high elevations, I can tell it that it maxes out, I don't know, at 2200, I think. Let's see, let's try if I get that to happen. And then maybe I don't care about the really low elevations either, 1590. So you'd think that that would be zooming in a bit more, but maybe I'm still a little too spread. So let's bring it down to 1900. Okay, that's too far because you can see now everything is white. So 2000. And that looks pretty good because I think the mountain front is right here. And then we can see it kind of goes to the lowlands out here. So maybe this should be 1570 actually. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now we can put on top of that either the hillshade or the slope map. Can also put the aspect map if we wanted to. I'll show you that in a minute, but the slope map, let's start with that. Okay, so all we see is the slopes. This is right now just the default slope map. Let's click on this. Then our stretch appears over here. Let's change this to standard deviation. And then let's invert it. Because right now you can see that steep slopes are showing as light. That's non-intuitive. Steep slopes might be shadowed, is maybe in a more intuitive way, and flat slopes should be light. And then this should make more sense maybe to your brain. And it looks perhaps more similar to like a hillshade model. And so this shows very nicely where fault scarps are. They should be shaded because they should be steep. So that's pretty cool. Let's turn on the hillshade and then look at it. So you can see differences for sure between the hillshade, and this hillshade is illuminated from the northwest. So shadows are on slopes that face opposite of that, and um, illuminated surfaces are facing the northwest. So this is great for looking at alluvial fans. This is good, but not maybe as good. Like here you can, on the hillshade, you can zoom in and see a lot of detail in the channels down here next to the road. You can see some of those details in a different way in the slope map. They definitely show things a little differently. They can both be useful, so we have them. And then also aspect sometimes can be useful, so I'll look at that briefly. So right now, the aspect map is just black and white. And what it does really good job is show you where the slope direction changes direction. So it shows fans really nicely. So if I turn the hillshade, you know, you can see the fans in the hillshade. You can maybe see them even more exaggerated in the aspect map. It doesn't show slopes, steep slopes well. So like in the hillshade, you can still see where those scarps are. In the aspect map, you can sort of make some of them out because they are facing a different slope than the neighboring aspects, but it's not like this slope map. Okay. And so one thing to do is to combine like the slope and aspect together. And so I can do that by clicking on the top one, slope, and go to appearance and change it to like somewhat transparent. I'll just try 50%. And then you can see both more details of the fans coming from the aspect map behind, and then the details of the slope here. And now I'm going to put the hillshade in front so we can pop between those. Right now, this is slope aspect combination. I'm going to turn on the hillshade and see how they compare. So the hillshade is a little smoother, but and maybe the hillshade actually shows some of the details of bedding units up in the hills better. No, sorry, this is the slope aspect shows that better. If I turn the hillshade on, I kind of lose that. Yeah. So uh, that's just a way to look at things. Combination slope aspect map. And you can do another thing, which is to change how your aspect is stretched. We really don't want it to be clipped, so let's do no clip. Oh goodness. I don't think. No. Yeah, okay. So let's turn this off. No, we don't want the no stretch. Let's minimum to maximum. There we go. It has to have some color, so it needs a stretch. Yeah, so there's minimum maximum with the slope. Okay. But we can change that color scheme so it's maybe a little more intuitive of what direction is what, right? Because this is just grayscale, dark to light. And we're going around 360 degrees of uh, slope facing direction. So might like to have more than two end member colors. So I would choose one of these stretches with three colors and maybe one that's somewhat like landscape, natural landscape intuitive colors. But another way to go is just difference. So like green, yellow, red. So if I click that, that's kind of psychedelic. But you can see clearly that, if it's facing east, it's green. If it's facing kind of south, it's yellow. And if facing west, it's red in this case. So now if I turn slope on top of that, it's psychedelic, but you get a little bit more maybe intuitive information about what you're doing there. And if you zoom in, you can really see, where one side of this alluvial fan surface is sloping one direction versus where it changes to sloping the other direction. And then you can see kind of like the ridge lines and things like that of these old alluvial fan surfaces quite well. So that is, I would call a combination slope semi-transparent over a three-colored aspect map or slope aspect map. Okay, so yeah, I would set it up so that you've got a black and white slope map with white as low slope and a three-color aspect map, whether or not you like the colors I have here versus, say, something else like maybe this, which is a little bit less harsh on the eyes. That's up to you. But yeah, something like that. Okay, so slope aspect, hillshade, because that's also useful. And then underneath all of that, or on top if you want, the air photos are going to be really useful for your mapping as well, because we can see differences in vegetation, maybe even the soils showing through on the air photo. So yeah, have an air photo as well. Okay. So let's save this now. And yeah, we will stop this introductory tutorial right here. So this one, this first part is setting up imagery that we can then map over the top of. So I will stop the recording.